What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka All Fires. Now, the big story earlier in the week was an article explaining how Kevin Feige had basically realized Marvel Studios had gone too wide, the MCU had gotten too big, and it felt like homework instead of entertainment. Now we're getting a follow-up from an industry insider in Jeff Snyder, a guy who's been extremely accurate as of late with what he's hearing about how Kevin Feige is exactly changing the slate, and he included a lot of details. How many movies to expect going forward every 2 years, and a very stark difference, pun totally intended, between what they're doing now at TV and what they're going to do with the films. And this actually ties into why they made such a ridiculous offer to Jeremy Renner, at least according to industry insider Jeff Snyder. We're breaking it all down, this latest update, to exactly how Marvel Studios' plan is about to change for their slate going forward. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel. That's all we do. If you hit the sub button, leave a comment down below. That enters you for the giveaways. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this is the latest from industry insider Jeff Snyder. This is the guy who nailed Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Dr. Doom 2 months before it happened, so take that as you will. In his latest update, he goes on to talk about details for how Kevin Feige is changing directions. This is what he had to say. Quote, "Going forward, you will see the members of the new Avengers and the Fantastic Four pop up in all kinds of Marvel movies. But it's my understanding that going forward, the upcoming Vision series will be the last Marvel series to feature major characters from the movies." He goes on to say you'll get mentions of the major characters, but there's sort of going to be this indelible line between the TV shows and the movies doing totally different things. And he goes on to specify, look for these shows to continue to be based around characters like Wonder Man, who arrives in the MCU in December, rather than Vision, a big screen character whom audiences are accustomed to paying to see. Okay, so we were wondering what it meant that, well, it's become homework to watch all this stuff. It's become homework because you have to depend on people having seen everything in the MCU. One way they solve this, and what it sounds like is coming from Jeff Snyder, is you sort of make this line between the two where you don't have to watch all of the movies to watch the TV shows. They can be insular stories that have a season that tell a story about a character, and while one or two of them may reference what's going on in a bigger sense in the MCU, you make a very clear divide between the two. Also, the added bonus of this is that you're not wearing out your silver screen characters. It would be kind of crazy to think that we would ever see someone like Tony Stark on Disney Plus, and that's basically what they want to make sure they do here, is that the big screen characters stay on the big screen, the TV shows can reference that stuff, and then this doesn't require people to have seen everything in the MCU, say to pick up with Wonder Man. And if you're feeling some slight pangs of, but wait, we love how things are all connected. Yeah, I hear you, but you can't have it both ways. And part of it feeling like homework is the fact that you may have to have seen, say, 10 movies to have even seen a character through to his full arc before you get a Vision solo series. And so in order to alleviate that, now you're going to get a divide. It's not the end of the world. I think it doesn't preclude some of your favorite characters from ever getting crossovers, but Marvel Studios had to do something. Now, this next detail is wild. He goes on to specifically say that all of this is the reason that they lowballed Jeremy Renner on season 2, because they didn't want to make it. That doesn't go in line with what they're doing now, having an OG Avenger and a silver screen character. That's been around since the beginning of the MCU on Disney Plus. That's the whole no new fans club they're trying to get away from. They want to do stuff that's different and fresh. Now, I'm not sure about that exact detail, but he does go on to hint that we're going to see Clint Barton and Hawkeye in the upcoming Avengers films, which is great to hear considering the latest Jeremy Renner interview. But he wasn't done dropping details with that. He went on to say, referencing that very same Wall Street Journal article that we talked about during the prologue, by saying this, quote, "Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal reported that Marvel's Kevin Feige recently came to the realization that watching Marvel movies and TV shows had started to feel a lot more like homework than entertainment, and that the studio needs to focus on quality over quantity." He goes on to say, quote, "I've warned you in the past that Kevin Feige has been spread too thin in recent years." And by the way, yes, he has. He said this at least a handful of times in the last 2 years, and he's been forced to spend more time in the editing room fixing movies than making significant changes in ordering new scenes, per the WSJ. Of course, those responsibilities come with the territory and are part of the basic job description, but the new thinking at Marvel is less is more. Expect the studio to make 5 movies every 2 years. 2 movies 1 year and 3 movies the next. That's more manageable, plus Marvel won't burn through its slate so quickly. Now, speaking of which, we had heard from other sources that Marvel actually planned to roll back to 2 movies and 3 TV shows every year, not 2 movies and then 3 the next. And if you guys want my real opinion, I think Marvel Studios will probably make it a lot more common to do something like they did where Deadpool and Wolverine was the only movie last year. They might do that a couple more times over the next decade to let things breathe. Marvel Studios needed to do that. And even still, 2 movies a year is a lot. 5 every other year is 10 movies over a 4-year span, and I just don't know that Marvel Studios wants to keep up that sort of ridiculous pace. Yes, there's obviously a want to address the bottom line and make the billions of dollars that justify all of the spending that goes on at Disney, but again, when you say it out loud like that, 10 movies in 4 years, it just sounds like an untenable pace and maybe what led Marvel Studios to exactly where they are now. But look guys, even content creators like me who are Marvel stans and fanboys and do a lot more cheering than we ever do complaining about any specific thing than say, some of the other channels that might be in our little corner of the YouTube. Even we realize there have been some things here that haven't been great, and there have been some just downright failures. Quite honestly, Secret Invasion makes me super mad every single time I think about it. And it's more about the fact that the budget was $250 million than anything. There is so much potential left in the unlocked IP that's about to arrive to Marvel and so many more movies to come. I'm glad that they're at least slowing down and not racing through this. And Jeff Snyder at the end of his article says, maybe Kevin Feige's getting antsy. Maybe he passes off, the wheel of the ship to the next first captain, which in this case would be Brad Winderbaum, the guy who's the president now of Marvel Television and Animation. But I still don't see that happening because as we heard per that WSJ article from earlier in the week, Kevin Feige has a 10-year plan for the X-Men, and if he's able to right the ship and really deliver here at the end of the Multiverse saga, it might be the perfect time to walk away or the perfect time to rinse and repeat this new strategy now that you've sort of gone through the growing pains of being a middle-aged studio sort of turning into an older one. But, by studio standards and some of the big ones that have been around now for, the better part of a century, they are still a young studio, just certainly one of the biggest growth spans for any studio ever, and you can't expect everyone in every company to be able to handle those kind of things well. There were definitely some falling downs. It sounds like they're getting back on their feet now. You guys let me know all your thoughts down below. Are you cool with 2 movies a year? Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff. We are still giving away PlayStations. The next one is for Ironheart next month. Then we've got one for Fantastic Four, Marvel Zombies, and I think there's at least 1 or 2 more shows, Eyes of Wakanda, coming out before the end of the year. Either way, if you want to be entered to win for any of the future giveaways, just make sure you're a subscriber, leave a comment on the video, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos the same way we're doing here, live with my voice and the winning comments shown on screen, so please be safe and vigilant everywhere on YouTube. Make sure to smash the notification bell to keep up with the videos. Make sure to smash the like button if you liked it. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. Find me on all other platforms with original music under the name All Fires. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.